Notts County Talk. It's our pre-season predictions. Obviously, just a bit of fun. We'll get most of these wrong, if not all of them wrong. Last season, we did a mixed bag. I think I had two good predictions. I had Barnet to really struggle, and I had Maidenhead to do all right, actually. And they did me proud. What about you?
Mine was just shocking all around.
Yeah.
When it comes to National League predictions, it's really not my strong point. We'll swiftly move on from that one.
So we'll go ahead. 23rd. I think you probably predicted this without us putting it up. We've both gone 23rd. Dover, haven't we?
Yeah, I think last season was shambles on it. They refused to play. They lost a lot of their players because obviously they weren't playing, so they've gone elsewhere to get game time, whether it be lower down or whatever. They've not really recruited very well. No notable signings where you're thinking, geez, that's a good signing for them. So yeah, team that's going to really struggle this season, I think.
Yeah, they got Ricky Miller back, but he needs to find his goal scoring form. 22nd, I've gone Kings Lynn.
I've gone Winston.
Speaks for itself, really, for me. Kings Lynn, 98 goals conceded last season. Massive. They've talked about improving the defence. Have they done it? Not enough for me. You've really, even if you're improving that defence and you can cut out 20 odd goals, you're still conceding in the high 70s for that. And I just don't think they've recruited well enough defensively, and also they've lost Sonny Carey to Blackpool as well. Huge. What a player. Huge.
Yeah, huge loss. I've gone for Wilston. I think last season they didn't really bring any quality. I think they struggled for the majority of the season. They've not really brought any players in that can really change the team up too much, I don't think, with any quality. So that's why I've gone 22nd for them.
21st then. So the last of the relegation places. I have gone with Weymouth.
I've gone with Barnet.
Weymouth purely because I just think there's two teams worse than them. But then for me, it's Weymouth. That decent goalkeeper, but all in all, not quite strong enough. They'll put a good fight up. I had them bottom last season, and they proved me wrong. For me, 21st.
Yeah, I've gone Barnet. I think they're going to have a double hangover. And Kuehl's their manager, and you've only got to look at his managerial record to see that he's not the best manager by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, we love him at Medley, don't we?
Absolutely not.
20th then, just avoiding that relegation place. I have gone with Wilston.
And I've gone with Kings Lynn.
Go on, I'll let you start.
Pretty similar to what you said, really. They conceded 98 goals last season. They've lost three key players, Jackson, Kerry and Gash. Plenty of goals they're bringing to the team. I think they're going to miss them, but I think they were going to firm up that defence enough just to miss out on relegation.
No, I've gone Wealdstone. They conceded 99 last season, if I'm right, but they've tried to address it. They've signed Tavares. They've gone for the lad from Dagenham, whose name I'm going to butcher, Eletheru. Decent player when I've seen him play. And I just think, like you said with Kings Lynn, I think Wealdstone are just going to have done enough just to survive. It's going to be between them and Weymouth for me. 19th spot then. Who have you gone with 19th?
I have gone for Maidenhead.
I've gone Aldershot. What a mess last season. Ross McCormack. I remember you predicting last season that he'd score 45 goals, was it, in the first half of the season? Something like that?
47, yeah.
I'm sure you had Aldershot third, though, to be fair.
Probably did, yeah.
I had him 6th or 7th. But it's just a very strange season last year. And, they've lost Miller to Dover. They've also lost a lot of goals in Josh Rees to Boreham Wood. 12 goals, I believe, he got in this campaign. Team like Aldershot, you can't be losing 12 goals and not replacing it. What I personally think isn't they haven't got anyone to replace that for me.
Yeah, Maidenhead for me. I'm going off sort of what I saw from them last season, and I just don't think they had that quality. I don't really feel like they were the hardest team in the league to break down. I feel like we were quite easy to penetrate. We scored a few against them when we were playing quite poorly. In saying that, though, they have signed Kane Ferdinand from Woking, which is a decent signing, I suppose. So yeah, that's why I've gone 19th.
That is a good signing, though, isn't it? It is a good signing.
Yeah, it is good, but I just can't see him really making a difference for them to push further up the league.
No, they had a good season last year. I've gone Maidenhead 18th.
I've gone Weymouth.
Fair enough. Same, really, with what you've said. You know, they had a very good season last season. They did. Like, I'm going to put my hands up and say, yeah, fantastic for me to predict a decent season for them when people were saying they'd go down. So I just don't want to big myself up. That's fantastic for me. But they had a 19-goal striker in Orsi Didomi. You know, they've lost him. 19 goals. To score 19 goals for a team like Maidenhead, you wonder what would have happened if he was in an even better side. No disrespect. If he was in a Stockport or, you know, Torquay, how many could he have got? Genuinely, how many could he have got? They what came third, man. So I think 18 is about right.
Yeah. I'm not going to go too much on about Weymouth. I don't think they're a great side, to be honest with you. I know that's probably quite harsh to say that bluntly, but I think when you're looking at the league from 18th to 23 to the bottom of the league, I think it's going to be very tight at the end of the season. And I think, you know, all teams that just avoid relegation will be lucky. Weymouth just scraping it for me as well.
Fair enough. We now go to 17th. First one, I think that's a little bit of a shocker. You've gone with?
I've gone with Yeovil.
I've gone Altrincham. Why have you gone Yeovil?
They've lost a lot of key players. Reece Murphy being, you know, sort of the headline name that they've lost. Scored a few for them last season. And they've not really recruited that well, I don't think. They've not really got that quality in the squad that you'd expect from Yeovil, because they have been decent, to be fair, to them last couple of seasons. Bit of a bogey team for Notts, but I'm just predicting they're going to have a poor season this season.
I've gone Altrincham, and I've got written down here, I've got my vocabulary bank out, and I put fabulous signing in Ben Pringle. I think it's a really good signing for Altrincham, to be fair. Very good. 32 years old. And I see them as a side that aren't gonna really shake things up with the bigger teams. I just feel like they'll beat the teams around them and they'll be all right. Much the same as last season. I think they only got one very, very good result, if I remember right, and it was a win against Torquay 2-1. I think they'll just maybe get a surprise, but they'll tick along. They'll be all right. And I think 17th place finish in the National League at the minute for Altrincham is good. I do.
Yeah.
16th place then. I have gone Woking.
And I've gone Halifax. I'll quickly go over why I've chose Halifax. They've lost Jake Hyde, their top goal scorer last season. They've lost a lot of other key players as well. And I think they've only signed like 3 players to replace the players that they have lost. So they've sort of made up for the players that they have lost. And to lose the goals, you know, we've talked about it already, it's key, especially in the National League.
I've gone Woking. 15 without a win at the end of the season.
It's a lot to go off, though, isn't it? Because like I said, you know, when the season's come to an end and there's not that battle because, you know, relegation's not happening, there's not that pressure to perform, I don't think, as such for teams like that. You know what I mean? No,
but it's 15. 15 is massive. That's looking at the third of the season. But for me, they've recruited quite well. They've got Ini Effiong. Didn't work out at Notts for him, but good striker in this league. And they've also signed Rowan Ince as well, who I very much like. I remember him, I think it was for Brighton. So I think 16th for Woking. They've also there's been a lot of turnover of players. This is a strange one. 15th then.
We've pretty much swapped, haven't we? Yeah, pretty much the same reasons Tom said. I think Ini Effiong is a good signing for them. He's proven at this level, even though he wasn't proven at Notts. He had a few mistakes in him, didn't he? But yeah, I can't really expand too much on what Tom said, really.
For me, Halifax, I'm going to pull one out every single season. The hangover team this year, Halifax, had it in their own hands going towards the end of the season. I think they had games in hand. Could they get playoffs? And they lost the important games and didn't quite make it in the end. Also, like you've always said, for me, they've got no proven goal scorer. So 15th for Halifax, not a fantastic season. We now go down to 14th place then. Starting to get there, middle of the table. 14th, I've gone Barnet.
I've gone Bromley.
No hangover anymore for Barnet. They're going to climb up a little bit. I mean, they've got a lot of rebuilding to do. You have a season that bad, you've got a lot of rebuilding to do. They will improve. They're a little bit of an anomaly for me this season. They are a little bit strange. I mean, to go one season into the playoffs and then capitulate in the playoffs, and next thing you know, you're bottom of the league, getting smashed week in, week out. yeah, just a little bit of an anomaly, but I think they will start slow but pick up.
Fair enough. I chose Bromley. I just think they've had a couple of decent seasons, haven't they? But I just feel like they rely a bit too heavily on Cheek, and he's not going to be getting the numbers this season, I don't think. So that is the reason I put him at 14th.
Can't believe you put Bromley as low as 14. This embarrassing. We'll go to 13th then. I've got Bromley.
I've got Altrincham.
Bromley for me, like you said, too reliant on Cheek. Will he 100% be there? I'm surprised no one's come in for him. And if he does start well, January is a tricky time. January is a tricky time for Notts as well, for Stockport. It will be tricky for teams. If a player's performing well, we'll get onto this. It's going to be tricky. It will be tricky. Yeah. Cheek, very, very reliant on him. What if he gets injured? I mean, they've got quality at other areas of the pitch, but for me, they're going to drop a bit this season. They lost Joe Kizzy. Big miss for him to lose him. 13th for Bromley.
Yeah, I'll choose Altrincham. I just think they're going to have a bit of a better season. I think they're going to slowly sort of build up in the next few seasons to possibly end up being around the playoffs. They've firmed up the squad a little bit. It'd be interesting to see how they get on.
Fair enough. 12th. I've gone for Boreham Wood.
I've gone for Aldershot. I think they've made a few decent signings. They signed Loco, centre-back. He's proven centre-back as well. He's played in and around the National League in the EFL, so he's a good signing for them, I think. So I can feel like, that's going to solidify their back line a little bit. For
me, Boreham Wood, it's a little bit like Bromley. What fantastic player they've got in Tashamanga. Fantastic. Notts fans, if you haven't seen on Twitter, Notts fans were desperate to sign him. I don't think there was any link. Desperate to sign him. But it's the same thing. Will he be there at the start of the season? Will he be there in January? If he starts scoring again, surely a League Two side are going to take a punt on him. He's a very, very good player. He's turned Notts inside out a few times. And also Connor Smith, they've signed him from Wealdstone, I believe. Decent centre mid. Little fact about him, he came second in that Football's Next Star, that Inter Milan thing a few years ago. Good side, Boreham Wood. They are a good side, and they're always tricky to beat. But I think 12th for them this season, I don't think they're going to hit the heights that some people would expect. 11th, then. This is where we're really starting to get into it and
turn a few heads.
You've gone for it, yeah.
I've gone for it.
11th place.
I've gone for Torquay.
I've gone for Solihull.
You go first, go on.
I do feel like from here on, 11th place, every side is good this season. I really do. Like, these are strong teams for 11th place. I've gone Solihull more than 11th. Now, I went to game a couple of years ago, it might have been now. It would have been a couple of seasons ago. Solihull, just after Christmas, and it was difficult. Like, it felt like it's the first time I've been to Solihull away song, the Notts fans sing, but it was difficult. And I feel like it's one of those places that's always going to be difficult. Decent defensive record. Look, they've got Adam Rooney in the side. Like, I don't care if he's not been free scoring. I think he scored 8 last season. He's getting on. He's a good player for this league. They've had a Louis Maynard from Stockport. Good player. So I picked him out last season that I liked him. Newton as well, they've signed as well. So for me, Solihull are going to have a good season. And I do feel that for me, from 11th place onwards, it's going to be close for that 7th spot. So I just think 11th's a good finish.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I've chose Torquay. They've lost a lot of quality in their squad. Their fans were not happy about it online. They were making it clearly obvious. Obviously, for Notts fans, we've got Cameron in the main now. Whitfield as well. He's gone to Stockport, and Coverland, the keeper. He was quite loved, I know, by the Torquay fans.
He's a goal scorer, isn't
he? Yeah, he is. Yeah, scored the goal, didn't he? Was well up for it in the penalty shootout, but didn't quite go to plan. So I think they're going to drop off a little bit because they've lost quite a few key players, and they've sort of replaced them with quite young players. Like, I think the oldest recruit, because they recruited about 8 players in one day, and the oldest was about 23. And they've not got masses of experience behind them. So I think they're going to struggle to sort of get in the playoffs this season.
I just can't believe how low you put Torquay. We'll go for 10th place then.
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
gone Torquay. And
I've
you've
gone
gone...
Southend. Southend.
I've gone Torquay. Lost key players. Like you say, Cameron. He basically covered it. Whitfield. Nemane. I don't know how you quite say it.
On the tannoy at Knots at the weekend, it said Nemane. I thought it was Nemane, but it
We'll
said
go
Nemane.
Nemane.
So you go with that, don't you?
There's simple as for me. They've gone and lost a playoff final. Never easy to take, and I feel like that was their chance. And if you put it black and white, I said this would be closer up to the playoffs. Their team's not as good as last season. Black and white for me.
Yeah, agreed. Southend, I think they are going to be one of those sides that sort of struggle to adapt to the National League as such. Obviously, they brought in a couple of players that are used to playing at the National League. Player I mentioned earlier, Reece Murphy being one of those. He's guaranteed a few goals, but I just can't really see them pushing on into the playoffs this season for me.
One thing I will say about Torquay, I'm going to butcher his name as well. That Lemonhay Evans, what a player for him.
Yeah, great player.
Very good. Ninth then, we're really getting into it now. Ninth place, I've got Dagenham.
I've got Eastleigh.
Go on then. Why have you got Eastleigh?
Narrowly missed out on playoffs last season. They've had a good summer, some decent recruitment, decent pre-season as well for them. I think it seems like a club that's got quite a few positive vibes around it as well at the moment. Everyone seems to be quite happy. It's quite a positive fan base on Twitter as well. So it'll be interesting to see how close they do get to the playoffs, I think, this season. But I've got ninth.
Yeah, what I think for Dagenham, 12th last season. I think they're going to improve. I really like the keeper. Is it Elliot Justin? Very, very good. I remember last season we did a preview and Dagenham fans told us to watch out for him. Great keeper. Yeah. Very good. They've got Angelo Balanta, who I've always liked, tricky winger. I think he's Colombian, liked him when he was at Boreham Wood. So for me, he had something in that team, a little bit like the same, not get the same from Kyle Roberts, but at a lower level for Dagenham. He just gives that little bit of flair. And I also really like Paul McCallum. He finished the season with 10 in 10. So I sometimes think it's players will carry that on, especially finishing the season with 10 in 10 is massive for me. So I've got 9 for Dagenham. Okay, who have we got missing out on the playoffs by one spot? I have gone Yeovil.
I've gone Boreham Wood.
I think it's the biggest difference is Yeovil probably for us.
Yeah, you're probably right there. Yeah. Boreham Wood for me, I think last season, if you look at, I think they got the most draws in the league. I just feel like they're going to turn a few more of those draws into wins this season. I think they're going to be in and amongst it. I really do.
I've gone Yeovil. They've lost Reece Murphy to Southend off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think this is my surprise team, one of my surprise teams. I've got one more to come, but I think they're going to be all right. They've got a mixture of age with Ruben Reid, and they've just signed Simples, is it, from higher up the divisions. I just think they're going to be all right. I think they're up there. They're a decent sized team for this division. I do think they're good, and I think Quigley will score a few as well. So for me, Yeovil are going to be decent, but just miss out on the playoffs. Final day job. Final day.
Fair enough.
7th then, who just makes the playoffs? Final day for me is Chesterfield.
And it's Wrexham for me.
Chesterfield have signed some good players, and they've signed Calvin Miller, who, when we did a poll on Twitter, 95% of Notts fans said they wanted. We've basically swapped wing backs, Joel Taylor and Miller. Miller is very good. They've signed Jack Clark, who's good. They've got Scott Loach in goal, who he's decent, isn't he? And they're going to have Asante coming back, 10 goals in 22 games. Look at that for the season. He's a 20-goal strike, or 20 goals at least. So Chesterfield are going to be in the playoffs, but they're going to be good this season. I think they'll take a while to get going, and that's why they won't quite finish higher.
Yeah, so I think Wrexham, they're obviously going to be up there for me. They're obviously going to be in the playoffs, but I think they're only just going to make it this season. They've obviously made some superb signings, Mullin being the standout, obviously player of the season in League Two, scored 32 goals, I believe, last season. Absolutely fantastic signing. But I just feel like as a team, they're probably going to struggle a little bit to sort of consistently get results together. So I feel like they're going to have a bit of an up and down season. But I can see them still hitting the playoffs.
6th, I've gone Eastleigh.
I've gone for Dagenham and Redbridge. I'll quickly go over why I've gone for Dagenham and Redbridge because you've sort of gone over it because you've just chosen them recently. I think Paul McCallum, like you said, he had a good end to last season, and I think he's going to have a really good season this season, and that will be the difference for them. They're going to have plenty of goals. If you look at their pre-season record as well, they've been doing really well, scoring plenty of goals. So I think if they can carry that on to the season, I can't see why they can't get sixth spot.
Yeah, I've gone for Eastleigh. They're my surprise team. I've gone Jake Hesketh. For me, I'm going to put my neck on the line. He's going to be one of the best players in the league this season. Come from Southampton. There was interest, I'm sure, from Man United a few years ago. I like Danny Hollins in that side. I think they beat us at least once, maybe twice last season.
Twice, yeah.
Very good team. I actually hated playing against Eastleigh, and I think they'll do pretty well. Do pretty well. That's 5th place then. Grimsby for me.
Chesterfield for me.
For me, Grimsby, the fans might get on the back here. I don't think they're going to be a nice team to watch. I don't think they're going to be a nice team to play against, to be honest. I think they are going to get through and just battle. I think they're going to just be in 5th, and people are going to hate playing against Grimsby. They've got experience throughout the team. They've got Sean Scannell, used to be at Huddersfield, Palace off the top of my head. But I just think the reason they've got Giles Coke as well. I think the reason I put them there is I just think they're going to be the hardest team to beat. I don't think they'll get a lot of defeats. I think they'll get a lot of draws that could be defeats, but they'll grind them out.
Chesterfield then, I mean, pretty much what you said about them, Tom. They had a great end to last season. You know, they've got proven goals in Danny Rowe. They've got Miller as well. I mean, just quality on top of quality there. So I can see them having a bit of a better season this season.
Top 4. Went to top 4. Wrexham for me. For you?
Grimsby for me.
Okay, I've gone Wrexham. Now, obviously, you've highlighted who they've signed. How they've signed them, I don't know. Well, I do know, but mad signing. I actually think it'll be a breakthrough season for Jordan Ponticelli. I thought it would be last season. I had him as a top scorer in the whole league, I think. I said in the preview. I think he'll be very good this season. Young player, come from Coventry a couple of years ago. I think he'll be very, very good. They've signed Brisley at the back. We know Brisley from Notts.
Yeah,
that's a good signing for this division. But I don't think they have what the top 3 teams have. And I don't think they're necessarily going to be able to do it. I just don't have a feeling. I just have a feeling.
That's fair enough. I've gone for Grimsby. You know, I've pretty much got written down here similar things to what you've got. The recruitment they've had has been really good. You know, they've got a good manager as well. A lot of the players have come from the English Football League, so they've got plenty of experience higher up. Going to be a tough side to play against next season. But it's a great away day, isn't it, Grimsby?
Yeah. Right, 3rd for me, Southend.
I've gone Solihull.
Big shout. Off you go, Solihull.
Big shout. So you sort of said it, like they're really, really hard team to break down. You know, really sort of ugly football, isn't it? Where they're just really rugged and up for the battle. I think, you know, you sprinkle a bit of Neil Ardley into that where you're playing that bit of better football. I can see them getting a good few wins together, and I can see them outperforming, you know, probably their budget and coming in at 3rd, obviously. And yeah, it's probably a big shout, and there's probably a lot of Notts fans that were hardly out saying, "What are you talking about?" But I'm putting my neck on the line a bit.
I'm going Southend. I think it's an away day I want to go to. They're losing Akinola. I don't think he's in the plans of the manager, and I know a lot of Southend fans are worried about that. But they've signed Reece Murphy. He's good at this level. He's good. I don't think if he's here, I think he's sort of just a bit below Tashamanga and Cheek. But I think Reece Murphy, when he's settled at a club and he can be the main man to try and guide someone up, he'll be really good. They've also got Sam Dalby. Now, the player he's played for Stockport a couple of games and maybe Woking as well. Come from Watford's academy, where I believe 2 years ago got 15 in 11 games. Decent for him. I know it's academy, it's different football, but here that partnership, Murphy and Dalby, for me, is going to be very, very strong. Well, neither of us mentioned Notts, and neither of us have mentioned Stockport. So, 2nd place, I've gone for Notts and PO win the playoffs. You've gone
Stockport, and to win, I think Stockport will win the playoffs as well. We've pretty much talked about both sides, haven't we, quite a bit. I think, just going through the league and saying that they picked some of the players up, you look at Stockport's team, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
you've got Paddy Madden, Quigley, proven strikers. You've got Rooney, you've got Whitfield. They've got Will Fish as well from Man U, who actually made his Premier League debut last season. So he's an up and coming defender. I mean,
they were already a good defensive team last year.
Exactly. So to add to that, they've just got quality on top of quality on top of quality. So this second spot it's just me being optimistic Notts fan. I think they're going to be a really tough side, and I can't see them losing many games next season, to be honest with you.
I think Stockport. I think it's a 4-horse race for me. Wrexham, Southend, Notts, and Stockport, and with a few games to go, Notts and Stockport are going to pull away. Mm-hmm. I don't think we've got enough. I think Stockport are. I'll talk about Stockport when I get to my first place, but for me, Notts second. I would have actually had Notts probably fourth if it wasn't for Cal Roberts. Honestly, from a Notts fan's perspective, possibly the best.
The less we say about him, the better, I think.
Yeah, unbelievable player. And if he can stay fit, this is obviously, we're a Notts County channel, but how do you defend Cal Roberts and Ruben Rodriguez on the same pitch? They run you ragged for 85 minutes, you bring on the main. We've got Palmer. It's a very, very good side. And I think under Birchnell, we started poorly, but we picked up. Yeah. But Notts to win the playoffs. And Stockport have got too much for me this season. And that goes on to our first spot. So let me just quickly say about Stockport. You've pretty much covered it. Ridiculous side. Absolutely ridiculous team this season. They should be ashamed if they don't win the league in my eyes. For me, not to win the league if Stockport don't not overachieve. They just don't achieve what they're supposed to. If they falter, Notts will win the league, but I can't see it.
Yeah, Notts for me. I think we just have that sort of different play about us, don't we? I think in pre-season we've seen a few different sort of formations. We have got depth, You've got, I think Lacey's coming back from injury, and sort of playing three at the back, which we sort of have been doing. You can put like a fullback in at right or left centre back, which also we have been doing. So we've got plenty of options in there. We've got plenty of options in midfield. A lot of young players that, you look at what's his name, Ed Francis, as one of those. He was England captain under 23s and he was captain at Man City Youth Academy for like 9 years or something like that. From what I've seen him in pre-season, he just looks so calm and collected on the ball. Doesn't really seem to do too much wrong. We've got players that we've not even seen yet, like Frank Vincent, who's supposed to be an exciting player. Matty Palmer looks incredible for this level. There's just a long list, and I'm not going to talk about Cal Roberts because I want to keep him as long as we can. But Ruben Rodriguez, when he's on his game, which he was at the back end of last season, it's going to get messy, I think. And if Cairo Mitchell can, start firing as well, which I think he will. I think Birchall will improve him as a player, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes along.
There are predictions, obviously. It's just a bit of fun. It literally is a bit of fun.
It's not. It's dead serious.
We're going to put some of your teams quite low down. We're going to put some of your teams quite high up. But if I'm being honest, just direct the hate towards George. He can take it. So I'm really sorry to Yeovil fans and Torquay fans. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun. We would love to know, firstly, what team you support, and maybe, obviously not your whole prediction, but who you find or think will go down, who will finish top 7. Yeah. We're going to have content throughout the season. Almost every game we will do something on, so we'll mention your team. If you've enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.